vectors have both magnitude and the direction. Any vectors have magnitude and direction. Magnitude represented by the modulus of the vector, and the direction, it's the angle with the eye or with positive x-axis. In general, in the first explanation, what's the meaning of the vector? Vector, for example, if you have vector A, in 2 dimensions, it will be xi plus yj. I have 2 components, I and j. I here not like complex, it's not equal root of -1. And when you want to solve any vectors, you need to check your calculator, it will be in degree. Or in 3 dimensions, like that, xi plus yj plus zk. And any vector, you can represent it using column vector, like that. In column vector, we just write the coefficient of the component. So the first one here, it will be x, and that it will be y. Here, the component, it will be x, y, and z. We just take the coefficient. So, to find the magnitude of each of which, magnitude represented by the modulus of A, and it's always equal the square root of x squared plus y squared, and here root of x squared plus y squared plus z squared. How to evaluate the magnitude? So to find the direction, where the direction is the angle with the eye. Why, mister? Because in vectors, we denote it for x and y. X always take I component, and the y it will be j. And as you know, I has positive on the right, negative on the left, j up positive, down it will be negative. So if the complex number has position in first quadrant, the direction, it will be theta, or the angle makes with the eye, it will be theta. In second, it will be 180 minus theta in degree. In third, it will be theta minus 180. In fourth, it will be negative theta. Where theta always is equal tan inverse for y over x, without sign, because sign to no position. So that means if the complex number lies in the first quadrant, we just substitute theta by tan inverse y over x. If it's in second, said 1 over 80 minus tan inverse y over x. In the third, it will be tan inverse, we substitute theta only by tan inverse y over x minus 180. In the fourth, it will be negative tan inverse y over x. And you need to focus for that. We just define the direction for 2 dimensions, I and j. And the direction means the angle with I, the angle with positive I, because always in angle starting from positive x. In vector with positive I. In complex with positive real z. In x and y coordinates with x Cartesian. That to find the argument. What is the types of the vector? According to the given, everyone know any vector have both magnitude and direction. So if you have the same magnitude and same direction, so you will get 2 equal vectors. That is the first type. And in equal vectors, the corresponding members are equals, means I equal I and j equal j and k equal k, and we use that to find the missing value or the unknown, which is a, b, c, and so on. You will see in the questions. So I have three types of the vector. The first type, it's called equal vectors. It means have same magnitude and same direction. The second type of the vectors, it's called opposite vectors. In opposite vectors, I have same magnitude and the opposite points in direction. So it looks like the conjugate in complex. For example, if I have complex number, a vector 3i plus 4j, 3i plus 4j. So the opposite vector, it will be 3i minus 4j. We change the sign of j. So the opposite vectors, it's like the conjugate in the complex. What is the concept of the opposite vector? It's have the same magnitude, have the same length, but opposite points in directions. So it works like what? It works like the conjugate in the complex. So for example, if you have negative 2i plus 5j, the opposite vector it will be, we just change the sign of j, negative 2i minus 5j, and so on. The third type, it's called parallel vectors. And in parallel, they have same direction. But we didn't need to have the same magnitude, because the most in parallel vectors, the magnitude of one vector will be a multiple of the other. So every time we say that in parallel vectors, you must have share a common factor, because in the length or in the magnitude, one of them, it will be a multiple of other. To simplify or to adding and subtracting vectors, we just adding like terms or the corresponding members if it's come in j, I, k, or in column vector. So here I have I with I, we just adding. For I plus negative 2i, it will be positive 2i. We just adding j with j. 7j plus 5j, it will be 12j. I got the answer, it's finished. Here it's coming in column vector. We just adding 13 plus 0, it will be 13. Negative 6 plus 2, it will be negative 4 in column vector. Here we just adding negative 2 plus 7, it will be 5. 5 plus minus 8, it will be negative 3. 1 plus 5, it will be 6, is the column vector. Negative I plus 8, it's 7i. J minus 5j, it will be negative 4j. So we're just adding I with I and the j with j. And I have hint here to represent the vector. You can write it in a ij k notation or in column vector as you see. Now, any vector has in column vector 2 dimensions, that x and that is what? Y. And as you know, x always moved right or left. Right or what? So if it's to go to the right, that it will be positive. If it's to go left, that it will be negative. So in column vector, I have x and y. X moved right and left. Y moved up and down. If it's up, it will be positive. If it's down, it will be negative in general. So x in the vector moved right or left. If it's to go right, it's positive. If it go left, it's negative. And the y, if it goes up, it will be positive. If it goes down, it will be negative, and so on. Come here. For that example, if he said the vector c is equal negative 2i plus 4j. Negative 2i means that the vector go 2 units to the left. So if you're starting from here, it's go 2 units to the left, take that. Then 4 units up. So the result here it will be C. To represent it in the diagram, sometimes he asks you to find that. It's a very important hint. Attention for it. Now we are going to next question. We're back to simplify again by adding and subtracting. By the same way in letter I. We're just adding I with I. Negative 3I minus I, it will be negative 4I. For j minus 6j, it will be minus 2j. It's finished. Here it's in column vector 4 minus 4, it will be 0. 17 minus 7, it will be 10. To simplify here, we just do that. Negative 5 minus 3 means negative 5 plus 3, it will be negative 2. Negative 1 minus 10, it will be negative 11. Here we just adding and subtracting like terms I, 7I minus 2I, it will be 5I. Negative 3j minus 7j, it will be negative 10j. Negative 9k minus, it will be plus 13k, it will be positive 4k. So we're just adding corresponding members, nothing else. In multiplication only, we just multiply every member by each component inside the bracket. So we distribute 5 times 2, it will be 10i. 5 times 4, it will be 20j. Also here, negative 4 times 5, it will be negative 20. Negative 4 times negative 3, it will be positive 12 in column vector. We just multiply 1/2 by every term. 1/2 times 22, it will be 11. 1/2 times 9, it will be 4.5. Also here, 8 times 9, 72. 8 times negative 3, negative 24. 8 times negative 5, it will be negative 40 in column vector, and so on. Now I want to talk about some important points. Remind yourself to find the unit vector. For example, if you have vector v is equal, or vector a is equal xi plus yj. To find a unit vector, what's the meaning of unit vector? Unit vector, it's a vector with a magnitude 1. A vector with a magnitude equal to 1. How to find the unit vector? We just use that rule. Unit vector is equal 1 over the modulus of a, 1 over the magnitude of the vector, times the given vector. We just use this rule to find the unit vector. Why? Because unit vector has a magnitude 1. So what if you have question in MCQ? He gave you 4 vectors and ask you which vector represent unit vector. I will evaluate the magnitude of each one. Which have magnitude equal 1 represent a unit vector, because unit refer to 1. Unit refer to 1. Okay, to find the distance, if you have two vectors like A equal x1 and y1, and the vector B equal x2 and y2, to find the midpoint, we just use that rule, 1 over 2 times vector A plus vector B. To find the distance, we just use that rule, x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. Don't forget that. It's simplifying like we did before. In this question, I have here 3. First of all, we expand that 3 by every term. So letter I, it will be negative 3i plus 4j. Leave negative. Then expand 3 by every term. 3 times negative 2, negative 6. 3 times positive 5, it will be 15j. So it's equal, now collect like terms, negative 3 minus 6. So it will be negative 3 plus 6, it will be positive 3i. 4j minus 15j, it will be negative 11j. That is the first one. And like that question, it's coming in column vector, and it's better for us to use column vector always. So 3 times 7, it's multiplied 21. 3 times negative 4, it's a negative 12. Plus multiply 5 times negative 4, it will be negative 20. 5 times 6, it will be 30. Then we collecting the corresponding members. 21 minus 20, it will be 1. 30 minus 12, it will be 18. For the third one, it's so easy. By the same way, you can do it alone. Now we are going to the next question. In this question, he said find the values of P and Q given that. The first question is A. How to find the value of P and Q? Here we have letter A. 5 times P and 2. So 5 times P and 2 plus Q times 8 and 10. It's equal 26 and 15. I have multiplication, so we multiply 5 by every term. 5 times B, 5B. 5 times 2, it will be 10. Also, you multiply Q by every term. Q times 8, it will be 8Q. Q times 10, it will be 10Q. All of that is equal 26 and 15. Now we just add 5B plus 8Q. Here 10 plus 10Q. All of that is equal 26 and 15. Now I have two equal vectors. And in equal vector, the corresponding members are equal. So that expression equal to that. I equal I. And also J equal J. But I want to find the values of P and Q. Everyone noted that in the second one here, I have only one unknown. So we start with the second one. So we just equate J in both sides. So we get 10 plus 10Q is equal to 15. That. Because it's involving one unknown, so shifting that to other side, it will be 10Q is equal 15 minus 10, it will be 5. So Q is equal 5 over 10, it will be 1/2. Then we equate I, because I here in two different unknown. So 5B plus 8 times Q, all of that is equal to 26. But I know the value of Q now, we just substitute. So sub in here, it will be 5B, where Q equal 1/2 times 8, it will be 4. All of that is equal to 26. Now solve for P, so P is equal 26 minus 4, it will be 26 minus 4, 22. All of that divided by 5. So I think we change the question here. We make that positive 10, but it's in the question negative 10. So cancel that negative and keep it with positive only to get the correct answer. And you can practice it alone with the negative sign. Now we are going to letter P. It's B times 2 and 7 plus Q times 4 and 5. All of that is equal 10 and 53. So by the same way, b times 2, it will be 2b. b times 7, it will be 7b. 4 times q, it will be 4q. 5 times q, it will be 5q. All of that is equal 10 and 53. Now adding I with I, it will be 2p plus 4q is equal 10. In the second one, 7b plus 5q, it's equal 53. So I have two equations, but I have something different, not like the previous one, because here I have the both equation in 2 and not that in b and q and that in b and q. Here we start with the second one because it's only in q, sorry, right? So here I have two simultaneous equations. Just use a calculator, write that, solving 1 and 2. So how to solving 1 and 2? We just do that. If your calculator 95, 31. If it's 99, 991, just use mod 51. And we will insert the coefficients only, the coefficient of b, then coefficient of 4 of q, sorry, then constant, coefficient of b, q, then constant. So just do that. Mod 31, 2 equal 4 equal 10 equal 7 equal 5 equal 53. So what you insert first? b. So you will get the value of b first. So the value of b equal 9. So what you insert? Next number, it will be q. So the value of q, it will be equal -2. Then hashtag we love math.